Have you ever found yourself looking at your year-to-date P&L and noticing that you've had some really great sales and your profit is actually really good? You're running a 20%, 25%, 30% profit, but yet you just feel like you have no money and you're wondering where on earth did all that money go? Well, today I'm going to show you a little exercise that you can do that's going to help you understand the flow of money better through your business. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a spreadsheet that I kind of put together that will kind of show you really quickly, once you plug in the numbers, how easy it is to kind of see, wow, okay, this is where I need to go look because this is what's going on with my money. Hey, Badass Business Owners, my name is Tammy, and I'm here to help you grow your business, but more importantly, grow those profits. Because at the end of the day, all the sales in the world are great, but if they're not profitable and you're not making any money, doesn't help you at all. So with that, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at an example of a business. I've tweaked the numbers a little bit, but you're going to look at this business and you're going to kind of see what we saw when we took a deep dive into it as to what was going on. So with that, let's head on over. All right, so what we have here is we have a little spreadsheet, but what I'm going to do is I don't want you to get too hung up with all this information quite yet. So I'm going to hide that. And what I want to do is I want to take a look right here at this business, and you're going to notice that the sales were $379. So not bad at all. And their cost of goods were $146,000 at 38% of their money. So basically everything is a percentage of sales, right? So if everything's a percentage of sales, it just means that 38 cents out of every dollar went towards cost of goods. Their expenses were $136,000 or 35.88 or 36% of their expenses of their money went towards expenses. And their profit was at 25% or $97,000. And this is after they pay them. In case you're wondering, they do take a salary for being in the business as for the employee work that they do. So this is good profit. This is not money that they have to still pay themselves out of. So this is money that they're going to do the three things that we talk about all the time with their profits, right? You're going to pay your taxes, you're going to reinvest back into the business, and you're going to take an owner's draw. So not bad at all. When you look at this thing year to date, everything looks good. But like I said, sometimes it can be a little deceiving because when you're having money issues throughout that cash flow, if you will, that it seems like some months you have money and then other months you don't have money, you got to figure out what's going on. So let's figure out what's happening in this particular business. So I'm going to unhide these cells, but I am going to cover the cost of goods and expenses just for a few minutes if you don't mind. All right. And what I want to do is I want to look at the sales. So for those of you on a podcast, I apologize. I'm going to go over a bunch of numbers. You're not going to see them, but I'll put a link to the video in the show notes for you. So sales, we had $12,000 in January, $13,000, $20,000, $36,000. May, we were at $36,000. June, $40,000. July, $48,000. August, $49,000. So you can see the business has been ramping up and the business is getting better. But then we dropped down to $42,000, down to $33,000, down to $24,000, $25,000. Now, so as you can tell, it's definitely a seasonal business, right? They are a spring and summer business. They do tons of business during that time frame. As a matter of fact, if you look here in the yellow, this tells you what percentage of their business is done by month. So January and February are 3%, whereas June, July, and August are sitting at 12 to almost 13%. So you can see how there's definitely a bell. They call it a bell curve, if you will, where you start off slow, you get really busy, and then you die off at the end. And the problem is you got to remember the next year is going to line up with it, and that kind of puts together 5 months of really low times. Because if you look here, if November and December are really low, and then we start January, February, and March low, that's 5 months in a row where we're just not making any money compared to other months. Matter of fact, you can see it here in their profit line. In January, it was $6,000. Then it dropped down to $500. Then it was a loss of almost $1,500. $5,000, $22,000 profit, $12,000 profit, $20,000 profit, $20,000. Can you see how much profit they're making during the summer? The business is rocking and rolling. You can see percentage-wise, it's 30, 40%. Then it drops to $2,500. Then it goes back up to $16,000. So that's something you want to ask yourself, why is that? And then it drops back down to a loss of $1,000, loss of $4,000. So yes, the end number is $97,000 in profit, but it was a roller coaster, as you can tell, with what's going on. And we definitely are making a lot of profit during those spring and summer months, but not so much on the end. Now let's take a look at what's going on with their costs and their expenses. So I'm going to unhide those real quick. And you're going to see that their cost of goods, and cost of goods are going to be any materials, ingredients, products that you use, that you give to the customer, basically, plus any labor hours for the service that you provide, and they have a service, and you're going to see it's 3,000, 25, 13, 14, 8, 16, 14, 8, 23. So there is a little bit of consistency in there, but at the same time, there is some ups and downs with it. And it's definitely higher during some of the peak months of the June, July, and August timeframe and September. But here's the problem. You'll notice the sales start dropping, but yet the cost of goods are not dropping. And typically when we see that, it is because we are keeping the same payroll during the slow months as we had during the peak months. And that is almost always going to suck your profit dry. It just is. When we look at expenses, we come over here. It started the year off at $3,000, then jumped to 10, 9, 17, 55, 12, 14, 12, 17, 7, 12. So there is a little bit of up and down. I will tell you in this particular case, that really has to do more with the wages that the owner is pulling out, because there's some months where it doubles up because of the pay periods and stuff like that. But for the most part, he's been very consistent with his expenses when he was running through. So there's a couple blips in there, but overall it wasn't bad. And anytime there was a big change, it had more to do with that. But overall, they ran a 35% for their expenses. Some months were lower than that, some higher, but nothing too crazy. It really, the profit problem that we're having is up here in the cost of goods, where you can see we're just losing money here in that November, December. And then for the most part, January was a fluke why they even had any money, but I can guarantee you in the following year, January was not making money, and then February. So we've got 5 months where we just don't have any money. So by looking at it this way, it really does come up with, I've got to have a plan. I've got to have a plan for a couple different things. One, I have to take the money that I make here in this April to September timeframe, and I need to save that, and I need to put that in the bank because I need it to get the business through the whole slower months out of the year. When I get into fall in winter, I need that money so that I can do it. So I had the same problem when I owned my ice cream shop, right? Because during the summer months here in Arizona, it's crazy. Tons of people are eating ice cream, not so much when it starts to get cold. Like today, it's 37 degrees. Not many people are going to go out and buy ice cream back in the day, right? But for this particular business, he's got a snow problem, which makes it very difficult for him to do his business. Now, he's coming up with some ideas to be able to help offset those slower months by utilizing where instead of taking the business to them, they can take the business back to a shop and stuff like that. He's doing some really cool stuff with that. But for each person, you have to look at your by month. This is why your P&L is so important to you, because it's going to hold information that, sometimes people only look at the big number at the end of the year, but they just don't understand the roller coaster ride that they've been on. And I've seen a bunch of other ones where it's just month to month all over the place, and it has nothing to do with seasonality. It has to do with the way they're running the business. So this tells you that where to go look. Is it in your cost of goods? Is it in your expenses? What's bouncing all over the place, and what is it that you can do to try to help with that? So I'm going to go ahead and save this spreadsheet for you, and I'll put a link in the show notes. So this way, if you want to get it, you can just go download it from the website, and you can just plug and play it. There's a template in there for you to be able to just plug in your own numbers in there to allow you to be able to do that. But if you don't do it at all, just create a simple spreadsheet for yourself. I really am a huge fan of you knowing your business numbers, and a great time to do those business numbers are right now, because you can take last year and you can really just plug them in and start seeing what's going on. And this opens up a whole can of worms when you start diving into the actual P&L to find out what's going on. And that's kind of what we did, is we took this and then dove into the P&L side of it. Hopefully you've gotten something out of this exercise, and you can see that it's something that would be beneficial for you for when you're running your small business as well. And if you like what you saw today, please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of the good content, and hit that like button so other people know it. And I will talk to you on the next episode. Bye for now.